Every year, millions of people write down their resolutions with total sincerity. Yet, by the second week of February, 80% of those plans have been completely abandoned. We usually blame a lack of discipline for these abandoned plans, but the data suggests a deeper problem. The way we define the target often creates the very friction that stops us from reaching it. There is a proven behavioral framework that removes willpower from the equation, a system designed to make good habits inevitable and bad ones impossible. To make it work, you have to do something that feels completely counterintuitive. You have to stop focusing on the end goal. For over 100 years, the British cycling team was a laughingstock in the sport. Their performance was so poor that top bike manufacturers actually refused to sell them gear, fearing it would damage their brand reputation. That century-long losing streak ended when they hired Dave Brailsford. Instead of reinventing the team with sweeping changes, Brailsford focused on the aggregation of marginal gains, improving every tiny component by exactly 1%. His team tested out various massage gels to see which led to the fastest muscle recovery. They redesigned the bike seats to be slightly more aerodynamic. They even figured out the exact pillow each rider needed for the best night's sleep and brought them along to every hotel on the road. Within 5 years, the British cycling team captured 60% of the gold medals available at the Beijing Olympics, and then went on to win 5 Tour de France victories in 6 years. This timeline exposes the flaw in how we usually think about progress. Success on this scale is the natural, mathematical result of tiny routines compounded over time. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. If you look at any competition, the winners and the losers usually share the exact same goal. Every Olympian wants the gold medal. Every candidate wants the job. If successful and unsuccessful people share the same target, then the goal itself cannot be the factor that separates them. Imagine a basketball coach who spends the entire game staring at the scoreboard instead of watching the court. Focusing on the outcome is a distraction. True progress comes from ignoring the score and focusing entirely on the daily practice drills. Fixating on the result also traps you in a cycle of delayed happiness. You tell yourself you will finally be satisfied once you lose the weight or get the promotion. But even if you do hit that target, the motivation often vanishes immediately, causing a relapse into your old habits. This chart plots what happens when you shift your focus to the system. If you get exactly 1% better each day for 1 year, the compound interest leaves you 37 times better. Conversely, getting 1% worse every day shrinks your baseline to near zero. Time magnifies the margin between success and failure. Goals are useful for pointing you in a general direction, but your system is the only vehicle that actually moves you forward.
We tend to attribute bad habits to a lack of moral character, but the people with the best self-control are typically the ones who simply need to use it the least. They practice environment design. Every habit begins with a cue. To build a good habit, you make that cue as obvious as possible in your physical space. To break a bad habit, you eliminate the cue entirely, making it invisible. In 1971, nearly 20% of American soldiers stationed in Vietnam were addicted to heroin. Yet, when they returned home, addiction rates plummeted, and 9 out of 10 soldiers eliminated their habit almost overnight. They had removed the environmental triggers of the war zone. Without the cues, the craving disappeared. You can manipulate this craving phase in your own life using temptation bundling, pairing an action you want to do, like watching a favorite show, with an action you need to do, like riding a stationary bike. You've probably experienced this yourself. Let me know in the comments if you've ever accidentally broken a bad habit just because you moved to a new apartment or finally deleted an app off your home screen. Redesigning your surroundings creates a path of least resistance. It is more reliable than trying to force yourself to be disciplined every single day. Lasting behavior change requires shifting how you see yourself. This brings us to the deepest layer of habit formation, identity. Imagine 2 people refusing a cigarette. The first says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." The second says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." The first person still identifies as a smoker trying to do something difficult. The second person has adopted a new identity where smoking simply isn't an option. Every time you perform a habit, you are casting a psychological vote for the type of person you wish to become. Reading one page doesn't make you a scholar, but it provides proof that you are a reader. This is exactly why those New Year's resolutions fail by February. People try to change their results without addressing the underlying beliefs driving their behavior. True behavior change only occurs when the habit aligns with your self-belief. Even with the right systems, progress is rarely linear. Most people quit in the valley of disappointment, when nothing seems to happen. This is the plateau of latent potential. Think of an ice cube sitting in a cold room. As the temperature rises from 25 to 31, the ice doesn't change. But at 32 degrees, a phase shift occurs, and the ice melts. All those minutes spent heating the block from 25 degrees to 31 were necessary. That effort was stored, building the potential required to trigger the final phase shift. Habits are the foundation of self-perception. Instead of focusing on what you can get, these small routines determine who you eventually become. Now that you have the system to build your identity, the next step is understanding the chemical engine driving your motivation. Like and subscribe, and in the next video, we'll break down how dopamine manipulation can cure chronic procrastination.